Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive in. Today, it's all about practical strategies for women empowering other women.
Yeah.
Going beyond just good intentions and actually making a real difference. And to guide us, we've got insights from a real powerhouse, Dame Neslyn Watson-Druée.
Wow. Yeah. Four honors from Queen Elizabeth II and King Charles III. That says something.
For real. She's dedicated her life to leadership and empowerment, so we're in good hands.
Absolutely. What I find really interesting about Dame Neslyn is how she, goes beyond that typical women supporting women message.
Right.
She's like, yeah, that's important, but think bigger. This
Yeah.
support, it creates a ripple effect leading to progress for everyone.
It's about breaking down those barriers, those systemic barriers that hold everyone back,
Hmm.
and building a world where everyone has a shot.
Yeah, exactly. More inclusive, more equitable.
And one place where this ripple effect is super obvious, like you can really see it, leadership.
Oh, for sure.
Dame Neslyn argues that when we actively push for women in leadership roles, right, like really advocate for them,
Yeah.
we create pathways, not just for them, but for everyone.
More representation, more economic independence.
Exactly. And it's not just about like individual success.
Right.
It's about building a future where an entire generation of women, they believe in their potential to lead.
Totally. And she's not just talking the talk, she's walking the walk.
Oh, yeah.
She created the Mary C. Cole Leadership Scholarship, helps nurses and midwives move up in leadership.
So she's putting her money where her mouth is,
Yeah,
literally.
exactly.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do we do this? Dame Neslyn outlines 10 powerful strategies. And look, we could talk about all of them.
Yeah.
But for today, let's focus on a few key ones that our listeners can actually start using, like right now. What do you think?
Sounds good to me. Where do we start?
Okay, let's start with something Dame Neslyn really stresses: creating safe spaces.
Oh, that's huge.
She says it's so important to create environments where women, they feel comfortable, they can express themselves without being judged.
Oh, I totally get that. Especially in professional settings. It can be tough. You feel like you have to fit in, play by certain rules.
It's like you can't be your true self.
Exactly. But when women can be open, share their ideas, even their vulnerabilities,
Yeah.
that's when the magic happens. More creativity, more innovation. Everyone wins.
It's about belonging, right? Like feeling like you truly belong and you can bring your whole self to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get practical. How do we create these safe spaces, especially at work, where it can be?
Yeah, definitely. I think it starts with the culture, right? Leaders need to encourage open conversations, really listen to different perspectives, and, give feedback that helps people grow, not tears them down.
So less competition, more collaboration.
100%. Recognizing that when everyone's voice is heard, we all benefit.
Makes sense. And this goes beyond the workplace too, right? Like networking events, mentorship programs.
Oh, yeah. These can be amazing spaces where women feel comfortable sharing, learning from each other, building that sense of community.
Now, this next one is something Dame Neslyn feels very strongly about: engaging men as allies.
That's a big one.
She's really clear that gender equality, it's not just a women's issue, it's a societal issue.
And it's going to take all of us working together to really make a difference.
So men have a role to play, right?
The vital role.
And it's not just about big sweeping gestures.
No.
It's about those everyday things that can really make someone feel seen and heard.
Things like,
Things like actually listening to women's experiences, believing them when they share their stories, speaking up when they see sexism.
exactly. And even just being mindful of the language we use, challenging those stereotypes, creating an environment that's more inclusive at work, at home, everywhere.
It's like walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly.
And Dame Neslyn has some great examples of men who've been incredible allies to her. Sir Ian Mills, Sir David Nicholson.
Real role models.
They've used their influence to advocate for her, to create opportunities for her voice to be heard.
And that kind of support can make all the difference, right? Especially when you're trying to break into spaces that have traditionally been dominated by men.
It's about partnership, not about men rescuing women.
Exactly. We all have something to contribute, and we can achieve so much more when we work together.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Another one of Dame Neslyn's strategies that I found super interesting is sharing resources.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Providing access to training, funding, career opportunities.
Practical stuff, yeah.
It's about recognizing that women often face more barriers when it comes to these things. So if we can share what we have.
Level the playing field a little bit.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So someone's listening and thinking, okay, I want to do this, but how? Where do they start?
Well, if you're in a professional network, think about how you can use that to help women. Share job postings, Or if you have some expertise in a certain area, maybe offer some free workshops or training to help women develop their skills. And if you can, consider donating to organizations that support women entrepreneurs or, organizations that provide scholarships.
Those are great ideas. But what if I, don't have a lot to give?
Even sharing an interesting article or connecting someone with a potential mentor can have a ripple effect.
Small actions, big impact. I like that.
Exactly.
Okay, this is all great, but I know some people might be thinking, this sounds good in theory, but how do I actually do this in my life? And Dame Neslyn actually addresses this. She has some advice for those of us who want to help but don't really know where to start.
What's that?
Start small, but think big.
I like that.
It's a great reminder that we don't have to wait for the perfect opportunity or have this huge plan. We can take action right now, even if it's something small.
Like what?
It could be encouraging a colleague, sharing a helpful article, or even, volunteering to mentor someone.
Yeah, and do it with that mindset of abundance and generosity. Don't hoard your knowledge or your resources, share them. It's how we help others succeed.
So it's about combining those small, everyday actions with a bigger vision of the world we want to create.
Yeah. And speaking of that bigger vision, Dame Neslyn paints a beautiful picture of the future. A world where women's voices are heard, their contributions are valued, and their dreams become reality.
And it's a future that we can all help build.
Starting today.
Starting today. It all begins with us recognizing that power we have to lift each other up.
And speaking of lifting each other up, I'm curious, what stood out to you the most from what we've discussed so far? What really resonated?
It's that ripple effect thing. It's not just about women helping each other out. It's how those actions can lead to bigger changes, make the world a better place for everyone.
Totally. Empowering women isn't just a, feel-good thing. It's essential, for real progress, innovation, in everything.
So let's talk about that progress. What are some of the biggest things holding women back in leadership? What do we need to, bulldoze out of the way?
Okay, so one that's still a biggie is unconscious bias.
Unconscious bias.
Even with the best intentions, people have these ingrained assumptions, and it affects everything. Hiring, promotions, even how women's ideas are treated in meetings.
It's like our brains take these shortcuts and we end up underestimating women without even realizing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why being aware of it is so important. We need to challenge those biases head on and consciously look for ways to support women leaders.
And it's not just about individual bias, right? There's also just a lack of representation in leadership. You know that saying, you can't be what you can't see.
Oh, that's so true. If you never see someone like you in a leadership role, it's hard to even imagine yourself there.
Exactly. So how do we change this? It seems like we need both individual actions and bigger system changes.
Yeah, for sure. On an individual level, women who are already in leadership positions, they can be amazing mentors, They can share their experiences, offer guidance, and advocate for other women within their companies.
And then on a system level.
Well, we need things like leadership training programs specifically for women, flexible work arrangements so women can, manage their families and their careers, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, those practical things that make a real difference. And let's not forget about the guys.
Oh, right. Male allies are crucial for advocating for these changes, making the workplace more inclusive for everyone.
It's about challenging those old ideas of what a leader should be, using their power to promote equality.
I think what I admire about Dame Neslyn is that she doesn't shy away from these tough conversations.
Right.
She's straight up. Men need to step up, be active partners in this, not just sit on the sidelines.
And she walks the walk, too. She points to Sir Ian Mills, Sir David Nicholson.
Great examples.
They have been huge supporters of her work, showing how powerful allyship can be.
Right. Men can be incredible advocates, amplifying women's voices, challenging those sexist attitudes, and creating opportunities for women to shine.
And it's not just about being fair. It's about everyone benefiting, right? Companies with more women leaders, they tend to do better overall.
Exactly. It's not just the right thing to do. It's good for business, more profitable, more innovative. It just makes sense.
Now, I know lots of our listeners are already working hard to empower other women. But what about someone who's just starting out? Where do they even begin?
That's a great question, honestly. Just start somewhere. It doesn't have to be some big dramatic thing. Even small actions can make a difference.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, so it could be just complimenting a colleague on her work,
Ah,
offering to help with a project, or connecting her with someone in your network who could help her career.
it's like recognizing that we all have something to offer, even if it seems small.
Exactly. Small acts of kindness and support, they can make a difference. Like throwing a pebble in a pond, the ripples spread out.
And it's not just about what we do for others, right? Dame Neslyn says we also need to invest in our own growth.
Yes. Personal and professional development, whether that's taking classes, going to workshops, even just reading.
It's like they say you can't pour from an empty cup,
Exactly. Got to take care of yourself first.
and that includes building our confidence.
Oh, for sure. It's about challenging those negative thoughts we all have, focusing on our strengths.
Being our own cheerleaders.
Yes. And find those people who believe in you, who encourage you to push yourself.
Dame Neslyn talks about the importance of celebrating women's achievements, too.
Oh, that's huge. Shine a spotlight on those successes, big or small.
Shift the narrative from scarcity to abundance.
Exactly. There's enough room for all of us at the top. When we celebrate each other, it lifts everyone up.
What I love about Dame Neslyn's message is how hopeful it is.
Right.
Despite all the challenges, she's so positive about the future.
It's inspiring. She believes in the power of women to create real change. It's a vision we can all work towards.
And it takes action, not just good vibes.
For sure. Putting these strategies into practice, challenging the way things are, supporting each other every step of the way.
You know, something I've been thinking about is mentorship. Dame Neslyn says her mentors were so important to her success, and she encourages everyone to find mentors and be mentors themselves.
Mentorship is powerful, sharing knowledge, offering guidance, that encouragement and support.
And it doesn't have to be super formal.
Nope. It could be just grabbing coffee with someone you admire or offering to share your experience with someone who's just starting out.
And it's not just about, like, the senior person giving advice, right?
Definitely not. Mentorship is a two-way street. We can all learn from each other.
Okay, as we're wrapping up our look at Dame Neslyn's work, I want to come back to something we've touched on a few times: engaging men as allies.
So important. Men have a big role to play in dismantling those systems that keep things unequal.
And it starts with, awareness, understanding how sexism and bias work, even in subtle ways.
It's about realizing that even if they haven't personally seen or experienced it, it's still real and it hurts people.
So once men get that, then what?
Then they can take action. Call out sexist jokes,
Yeah.
Make sure women's voices are heard in meetings. Advocate for those policies that actually promote equality in the workplace.
And sometimes it's about stepping back, letting women take the lead.
Yeah, sharing power doesn't make you weaker. It makes the whole team stronger.
Dame Neslyn talks about men being upstanders, not bystanders.
Love that. It's not enough to just not be part of the problem. You got to actively be part of the solution.
You know, as we've been talking, there's a question that keeps popping into my head, and I'd love to get your take on it.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so we've been focusing on the outside stuff, the practical strategies.
Right.
But what about the inside stuff? What are some of those internal barriers that women face, those things that hold us back?
That's a good question. And Dame Neslyn actually talks about this too. She says it's super important for women to build their self-confidence, believe in themselves.
It's easy to get caught in those traps of self-doubt, comparing yourself to others.
Imposter syndrome. Fear of failing. It's real.
So how do we overcome that? What advice would you give to someone who's dealing with that inner critic?
Well, first, just knowing that these feelings are normal, especially when you're pushing yourself, trying new things, that's a good start.
Like, it's almost expected, in a way.
Yeah, but we don't have to let those feelings control us. We can challenge those negative thoughts, replace them with something positive and empowering.
Be our own hype person.
Exactly. Practice that self-compassion. We're all a work in progress, right? Celebrate those wins, big or small. Focus on what you're good at, not where you think you fall short.
And surround yourself with good people, people who believe in you.
Yes, a good support system makes a world of difference. People who lift you up, challenge you to grow, remind you of your worth.
You know, what I appreciate about Dame Neslyn is that she doesn't just focus on work stuff. She talks about personal fulfillment, well-being, the whole picture.
Right. True empowerment is about every aspect of your life. Your career, relationships, health, your sense of purpose.
It's about recognizing that we're not just one thing, we're whole people.
Exactly. And it's about giving yourself permission to pursue what lights you up, prioritize taking care of yourself, create a life that feels right, authentic.
Define success on your own terms.
Yes. That's one of the most powerful things Dame Neslyn teaches. Empowerment isn't about checking off boxes. It's about living a life that has meaning, a life that aligns with your values.
And knowing that you have something unique to offer the world, no matter what your job is, how much money you make, or your, social status.
Every woman has a story to tell, something special to share, and every voice deserves to be heard.
Speaking of sharing, I've been thinking about confidence. It seems like you need confidence to step into leadership roles, to speak your mind, to chase your dreams.
Oh, absolutely. Confidence is crucial. It lets you take risks, overcome those challenges, believe in yourself.
But it's not always easy, right?
Nope, not for everyone. And lots of things can affect your confidence. Your childhood, what messages society throws at you.
So how do we build it? What can women actually do to feel more confident?
Okay, one of the best things is to focus on your strengths. What are you good at? What have you accomplished?
It's so easy to get caught up in what we're not good at.
Right. But when you focus on what you are good at, it boosts your self-esteem, gives you that courage to try new things.
Celebrate those wins.
Yes, and pay attention to that little voice in your head. When you catch yourself thinking negative stuff, challenge it. Reframe it in a positive way.
Be your own best friend.
Yep. And find your people, your tribe, the ones who believe in you, encourage you to step outside your comfort zone.
Speaking of support systems, Dame Neslyn really emphasizes women supporting each other.
Oh, that's essential.
It's not enough to just believe in yourself, right?
Yeah.
We need to actively lift each other up, celebrate those wins.
We're stronger together, collaboration over competition every time.
And you know what can really help? Role models.
Oh, huge. Seeing other women succeed is so inspiring.
It shows us what's possible.
And those role models, they don't have to be famous people,
Right. It could be someone in your community, your family.
Yeah, anyone who's living a life that inspires you, someone who's making a difference.
And we can all be role models for each other, too.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter your age or background.
Okay.
We all have something to offer.
Just by being yourself, chasing your dreams, you can inspire someone else.
It's that ripple effect again, right? Inspiration, empowerment. It spreads.
Okay, so as we get to the end of our deep dive into Dame Neslyn's amazing work, I want to go back to her vision for the future.
That world where women's voices are heard, their contributions matter, and their dreams come true.
It's a powerful vision.
Yeah.
And we can make it happen.
We can.
It starts with each of us taking action. Right?
Yeah.
Being kind to ourselves, believing in ourselves, supporting each other.
And remembering that we're not alone. There are people all over the world fighting for a fairer, more equal society for everyone.
Exactly. And when we work together, never give up hope. Anything is possible.
Couldn't agree more. So before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. What's resonating with you from our conversation? What's sticking with you? What's making you want to take action?
Honestly, for me, it's that start small but think big thing. It's easy to get overwhelmed by, how big the problems are, but Dame Neslyn makes it clear that every single one of us can make a difference.
Yeah, like one small action can create this ripple effect. Imagine if everyone listening right now just committed to doing one thing.
Right, just one thing to empower another woman.
Exactly. Send an encouraging message to a colleague, share a job posting with a friend, just listen to someone who needs to talk.
I love those examples. And they're things we can all do. It doesn't matter, what your job is, how much money you have.
It's about realizing that empowerment isn't about, these big, dramatic actions. It's about everyday kindness, support, encouragement, showing up for each other.
And it doesn't have to be all give, right? We can all benefit from having a support system.
Totally. You don't have to go it alone. We can do so much more when we work together, support each other through the ups and downs.
So here's a challenge for everyone listening. What's one small action you can take today to empower another woman in your life?
Think about the women you know, your friends, family, the people you work with. Who could use a little boost, a connection, a helping hand?
And don't underestimate the power of what you can do, even if it seems small.
Dame Neslyn said it best. When women unite to uplift one another, they become an unstoppable force for change.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
We hope you feel inspired to go out there and make a difference. Keep learning, keep growing, keep supporting each other. We can create a better world together.